So here we go. I love it when everyone just appears.
Yeah.
Magic.
Magic.
I see Eduardo Moldoni here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome back. Welcome to Foodie Friday. I'm letting everyone in right now. Just a few reminders. If you can remain on mute during the program, it's always very helpful for background noise. Any questions, please put them into the chat. Phyllis Hansen will be our moderator today. We are recording the program. It will be available on our website in a few days. And then finally, if you are having some problems with your camera and you want to be seen, we want to see as many people as possible. Please unmute now and I can help you get your camera going. We're just going to wait. We have many more people filing in, so we'll wait 1 or 2 more minutes and then we will get started. Welcome back. I love listening to the sound of your birds in the background. Suzanne, oh, yep, you got your mute button. Perfect. Yeah. Sometimes, are you on an iPad, Suzanne?
No, I want to be, but can you resend me the email again? I'm on my phone right now.
I can try. I can try. You know what? I can send it.
Or just give me the numbers.
You know what? That's harder than sending you the link.
Okay. Okay.
I'll send it for you, Meredith. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank
Hello,
you.
everyone. Welcome. We have a few more filing in right now. Welcome to Foodie Friday with the eBell of Los Angeles. We are traveling across the globe this morning, afternoon, wherever it is, wherever you are. A few reminders, if you can remain on mute. It is helpful for background noise. Any questions for our speakers, please put them into the chat. Phyllis Hansen will be our moderator during the program. And then we are recording. It will be available on our website in a few days. And then finally, if you are having problems with your camera and you want it on and it is not on, I am happy to help you with it. We are going to wait 1 more minute and then I will pass it over.
Amy? Hi, Amy.
Yes. Yes.
Meet George Stiffman. He's
we've chatted. We've
okay.
chatted. Hi, George. Yeah.
George is our next Foodie Friday speaker on June 11th.
Good to meet you guys.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Okay, I think we can begin. My final announcement, if you can remain on mute, it is helpful for background noise. Questions, please put them in the chat and Phyllis will moderate those questions. We are recording this program and it will be available to members on our website. And finally, if you are having an issue with your camera and you need my help, please let me know and I can help you with that. But it seems like we're all ready to go. I'm going to pass it over to our president, Patricia Lombard. Patty, take it away. Thank you so much, Meredith. It's my pleasure to do the welcome. And my name is Patty Lombard. I serve as the 64th president of the eBell. And I'm so excited to welcome you to our virtual program. For those of you who are new to the eBell, we are a women's club. We were founded 126 years ago by a handful of women to educate women. Today, our mission has evolved to host social and cultural events that inspire and empower women. We award scholarships to students and provide grants to charities that help at-risk women and children in the Los Angeles community. Just over a year ago, the pandemic forced us out of our fabulous historic Wilshire clubhouse. And shortly thereafter, though, we were able to pivot
all of our programming online, and that allows us to bring these amazing programs to you. I am virtually in our lovely library, as you can see in the background. We are delighted you are here. We welcome you to learn more about the eBell. New members are always welcome. You can even join today. Our dues are very reasonable. You will get access to wonderful programs like these and be part of the eBell community that helps support our mission. You will find more information in a follow-up email that Meredith is going to send out after the event. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our Board Director of Programs, Phyllis Hansen, who along with her committee develops these fabulous programs. Phyllis is going to get us started and then she'll be back to give you a preview of some upcoming events. Phyllis?
Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are traveling to the small village of Benabbio, Italy today. Benabbio is in Tuscany. It is up above Bagni di Lucca, which is near Lucca, which isn't far from Florence, but this is in a little remote, wonderful, idyllic spot up in a mountainous area. You're going to see the view pretty soon because it's still daylight in Tuscany right now. And we are in for a extraordinary food and / travel program today, where we're going to visit an area that's full of olive groves and wild boar and truffles on the ground. And I can speak from experience here because this is a place I traveled quite some years ago. And I never got to meet Celia and Enzo at that time. So we've struck up a little friendship here. And so it's very exciting to be able to take you all back to a special place that I have experienced personally. So I am going to turn this over to Amy right now, who's going to give you a little introduction to Celia and Enzo, who are our hosts today. Okay, Amy?
Thanks, Phyllis. I am the lucky eBell member who gets to introduce the Cammarotas. Celia is from London and Enzo is from Naples. They met in London nearly 30 years ago, where Celia was first a musician, then a book conservator, working for museums and a historical antiquarian bookshop. Enzo was an officer in the Merchant Navy, enjoying some time in London after many years spent in war zones with an American shipping company. They shared a mutual love of food and cooking. Enzo comes from a family of great home and professional cooks. From an early age, he, his mother, and his grandmother created large Neapolitan family lunches every Sunday. He loves experimenting with cooking from different Italian regions and traditions, also researching and adapting historical recipes. In 2000, they moved to Italy with their small daughter and bought the farmhouse in Benabbio that we'll visit virtually today. Their farmhouse is available for summer rentals for lovers of Tuscany, its culture, and its traditions. They also have a flat in the old walled town of Lucca, near the birthplace of opera composer Giacomo Puccini. We have had so much fun with Celia and Enzo preparing for today that I can't wait until we're free to roam around the world and we can share their region in real time. For a peep into their wonderful life, tune into their YouTube channel, Piazza Talk Tuscany, where they show off their area and cook a recipe. You'll be amazed, inspired, and a little bit jealous. So here's to you, Celia and Enzo.
Well, thank you, Amy, for that lovely introduction. And you've caught us just as the woodman, I think, is going home on the tractor. So you can hear a tractor in the background. So the sun is now going down over our mountains. And right in the distance, you can see the mountains of Carrara, where Michelangelo and Leonardo chose their marble. So we have this huge, expansive view. And luckily today is quite a nice day.
Yes, it's lovely here. So the temperature is actually pleasant today.
It is
because I mean
today.
it's now spring is kind of setting now, I suppose.
Yeah.
and we're waiting for the summer.
So we hope you will enjoy this little video of the history of our house, which is a typical house of this area. And benvenuta a casa nostra.
Welcome to Le Mura.
And we'll see you after the video in the kitchen.
We thought it might be quite fun to read a Tuscan farmhouse today, and ours is a fairly typical casa colonica, as it's called, or casolare in Tuscany. And so the living quarters are on the top, and there are cellars on the bottom, and we kept it that way because there's quite enough space up here. And it also means the animals were kept below, which helped heat the house, and it stops the mice as well. So the cold room was downstairs, and we'll see how they solved the mouse problem down there. There are stone steps that come up to the front door,
and we have the terracotta tiles
on the
terrace.
Sort of entrance balcony.
Entrance balcony, yes, exactly.
If you want to call it that, which then looks over the valley. And these houses were very much built for their position, for the sun and the cool. So this was a real working farm, and they grew wheat, they had olive oil, there were donkeys and horses, and they were great producers of bread, and they provided bread for a lot of the village. We're very lucky to know a lot about this house because a dear friend was actually born in this house, and so she's told us about the history of her family. So the house is stone built with a terracotta roof. These farmhouses were called casa colonica because usually more than one family lived in them. And the architecture of them changes according to where you are in Tuscany. So this is typical of this area of northern Tuscany. So as you see, it's made of stone, and between the stones is lime. And then the roofs are terracotta, and Enzo will explain later how they work. So this part was the living part of the house, and below here was the stable, and we know there was a donkey and a horse here.
And they also had a cow.
The cows were at the other end. The windows have shutters, which are called scuri, and not persiana, because these are solid, and they very much keep the heat in the winter and the house cool in the summer. The cellars all have their original doors, and this was the stable. And so we go inside. It's a bit of a storage area. But
This is a system to forge metal tools. So you want to get a piece of metal, you got charcoal there, this metal base, and the charcoal to get very hot, you blow air with this thing, and then you get your hot tools. You need an hammer, and you shape your tool with a hammer on the anvil.
And these are the original gates of the stable. Might be interested to see roof tiles. We've placed some roof tiles this year, and the tiles are called tegli.
Tegole in Italian, but also this specific one they called, the round one they called the canavette, and the flat one they called the emblici.
The house dates back to about 1600.
Yes, we think, because there should be a track record in the historical land registry.
And there are several stones with different dates, which is probably when the house has been repaired or added to. And underneath the staircase, there are these empty arches, which is for drying your wood.
And this is the entrance to the wine cellar. Is where they used to actually make wine.
Yeah, and inside is a big vat.
This vat here, we think, is probably at least 150 years old, and such it should be probably restored.
Here we've got several damigiane, which I collected over the years from rubbish bins because I think they should be saved.
And also Damigiana, even this one should be 54 liters. It's a kind of almost like a standard capacity, and it's always for wine.
And they have the baskets around them, don't they? And the others have just lost their baskets.
Yes, to protect them, and also to keep the wine cool.
So the pizza oven is not a pizza oven because we're not in Naples. It was a bread oven, and so people now call them pizza ovens, but they're bread ovens, and they were used for bread. And Assunta, who is our friend who lived here, and was she always said that they never got fresh bread because you always ate all the old bread before the new bread. So you always had stale bread. So this part of the house, the kitchen was there. Under here there were more animals, and we can look at the pig's trough. Now this part of the house, which are now bedrooms, were actually the wheat store. So the living quarters ended after the kitchen, and this was the wheat store, and below was where the cows were kept. And the wheat, it seems incredible, and we had guests from Australia once who couldn't believe you'd even consider doing agriculture on terraced lands like this. But the wheat was grown over in what we now call our orchard. And of course there were the olive trees.
When we came to this house, we found a lot of ancient tools, and in particular we were intrigued by this one here that is called Gitto. So to ask around the purpose of this specific tools there, and it was actually for a septic tank. There was a septic tank under the house, an ancient septic tank, and they were using the content of this tank for manure. So it would mature a certain number of weeks or months, and then they would remove the manure with this tool here. In particular, to say that to know if the tool was manure, the patriarch of the family would actually taste it. They don't ask me how it would taste, but they say, "Oh, it's ready now." This house has got a very large roof, and when it rains, there's a large amount of water that can be collected. So somebody thought in the past that we can collect the water in a tank. So that's the tank. The tank is quite big. We can have up to 10,000 liters of water, equal more or less to 4,000 US gallons. And initially it was used for every use for the house before they got water from the mains, and it was cleaned. They used to clean it at least every year.
And there are two chambers, aren't there? So it's
yes,
filtered.
there's one chamber there to clean the water. There is a step and then the water is cleaner. We had it cleaned, years ago. It was not actually that dirty.
And also, they had, if they ran out of water, it was delivered.
This is a typical Tuscan roof, and you can see there are two different kinds of tiles. The flat ones called emblici, and round ones called canalette. These two different kinds of tiles, when they slot into each other, they keep the roof completely waterproof, and there's no water coming through. You can also see there are some stones that they are very useful. There's wind, and also stop the tile sliding down. And now let's have a look at a couple of curiosities inside.
This is an example of arte povera, which was done by Assunta's grandmother. These houses are constructed using chestnut beams, and the big beams are called travi, and the little beams are called travicelli. And between them is terracotta.
Yes, they're called mezzane.
Mezzane. And on top of is another layer of terracotta, which is the floor.
Yes.
And nowadays they put a net in the middle to...
Yeah, it's like a mesh.
And you can see that there are baskets hanging off the beams. And again, these were always hanging from the beams because they stopped the mice getting the food. This is the fireplace in the kitchen, and it's a cooking fireplace. And there's a hook up here, and this chain hung on the hook, and the cooking pot hung on the chain, and that's where you cooked your polenta. And it would be served on the marble tabletop. This is called a conca, and it's a washing font. And so the ashes from the fire were put in the font, and the font was used to wash the sheets, and then wash your hair, and then finally the floor.
Okay.
And then there's a hole in the bottom, a drain, where the water drained out. This part of the kitchen was originally a separate room, and it was used for proving the bread. And but now it's become part of the larger kitchen. And these tiles are hand-painted traditional Lucchese tiles, and you can see them in all the old kitchens. This is a piece of marble that actually has nothing to do with the house. It was an old bar top. This room is actually our smallest bedroom, and this was the areas of the house where all the bedrooms were at one point. And we know that this was Zia Zita's room, and she, in fact, was a governess, which was quite something to be an educated woman at that time, from a family of farmers. All the floors in this house are terracotta, and they're beautiful old floors. And this bedroom also has a lavandina sacra, is it called?
Ma I would call it especially a kind of acquasantiera.
Acquasantiera.
So you keep the holy water there.
This is an original window, and they're just such beautiful technology. So simple. So there's a wooden bar that holds the window with two metal bars, and you twist it, open the window, and close the window. And the glass, am I right, is it in two pieces, or is it one piece?
It's in two pieces.
It's in two pieces. And only a few carpenters can do this, but you actually mended one window.
Yeah, well,
Clever
that's
person.
find my way.
And so the shutters are secured by this metal
Little bar.
little bar, yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mura in Tuscany. Today we're going to cook a ragu bianco Toscana, so white ragu. It is made with meat, but no tomatoes, and it's quite popular in many parts of Tuscany with a lot of variations. We got to have a variation. We got to use beef, sausage, which always appears in many Tuscan recipes, and pancetta, that is, everybody knows this cured bacon there. So I can show the ingredients here. Okay. This is the sausage. I just removed the filling from the skin. There are two sausages there. This is the beef, and this is the diced pancetta. And we start with a soffrittino, which is we put some vegetables in the frying pan with olive oil. So I got onions, is about a medium onion there, carrot, and the celery. And we're also going to use some herbs from the garden. So we have some rosemary, sage, and a couple of bay leaves. We're going to use one bay leaf in here. So to start with, we need to put some olive oil in this shallow pan. So it's about 3 tablespoons.
And we always use extra.
Yes, we also
virgin.
always use the extra virgin olive oil. In our case, we produce it locally, but extra virgin means that it's cold pressed. It is the most, in some ways, unprocessed olive oil you can find. So I'm going to turn the heat on. And while it's getting warm, I tell you that I'm going to fry the vegetables in the frying pan. And after a minute, I'm going to add the pancetta. And when pancetta is getting brown, I'm going to add the sausage and the beef. And we're going to put some white wine. We got some Tuscan white wine, and we're going to use a glass of this wine. So this is what we need to do at the moment. Then we got to make homemade pasta. I can show you while it's getting hot. The oil's getting hot. So we got to make egg pasta. So we got to use flour, eggs, bit of olive oil, and salt. I think the oil is getting ready. We can put this into the.
Sorry, we're dancing a bit here.
Okay. And the carrots. This recipe, as I said before, we got to use it with 3 different kinds of meat. But in other parts of Tuscany, they use first they use rabbit. They cook it in a completely different way, and veal, and they mix 1 or 2 different meats. The nice thing is if you add the pancetta, you add a bit of extra, how do you say it, strength to the ragu.
It gives it a bit of a kick, doesn't it? It
Yes,
gives it another flavor.
Yes. So this thing, and also in Tuscany, the most Tuscan herbs are at least for the garden, rosemary and sage. But they also use other herbs, but not for this specific recipe. We also have herbs here that are very local. One is called the nepitella. They use for wild mushrooms. It goes also in wild in the garden. So there are a lot of herbs you can find garden in the woods. Now it's getting 19, right? So it might take a couple of minutes to be. So we want to get the vegetable that to be soft.
We should say that the sausages that we're using today come they come from the hill opposite. But I think in America, you can get Italian sausages.
Yes, this is actually an interesting point that you made. Can show the sauce here. This Italian sauce is made actually with pork, minced pork, and herbs and salt. They don't add extra other things. I mean, for instance, I don't know in the US, but in England it's raspberry in the sausage. Everything in Italy is actually mostly meat and herbs. So this sausage got quite a good kind of kick. Now this expression is rather good in here.
Okay, everybody's asking what pancetta is.
Okay, this pancetta is a pancetta tesa.
But it's actually like a bacon.
It is like bacon. It is pancetta. Pancia in Italian means belly, so it is the pork belly, and it is cured with salt. In this case, there is pepper as well, and it's aged for a certain number of months. We also have the pancetta arrotolata, which is the raw pancetta, and you put a lot of herbs inside, and we also use it. And it's got a different kind of flavor. They're both very good for the for cooking and for eating as well, like it. And the other thing is that the pancetta can be also smoked, and so we can use smoked pancetta for dishes that require it, or can eat as a slice of pancetta on a hot slice of bread, and it is divine. Okay, I'm going to add now the pancetta. And I'm going to add as well the herbs. So I'm going to use one sage, one stalk of sage here, rosemary, rosemary, and a bay leaf. So now what's not happening that with the heat, the essential oils that are inside the herbs are released and they infuse into the sauce. Okay, the herbs are getting softer now because of the heat.
And a soffritto is a very Italian thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a base for a lot of recipes. I mean, even if you make, a stew or many pasta dishes, you actually make a soffritto. I mean, in Naples, where I come from, majority of sauces, they start with olive oil, garlic, or onions. Not together. Strange enough, there are two families of sauces. Anyways, it's a long philosophical discussion about how you cook this sauce. But anyway, so if you have the sauce in Naples with garlic and tomatoes, it's actually often a base for a fish sauce. When you get one with onions and tomatoes, it's a base for meat sauce, meat kind of dishes.
I see somebody's asking whether it's better to leave the herbs whole or chop them up.
Another thing is that in Tuscany, some people they chop, especially the rosemary, in small pieces there. But especially for the rosemary, the things that if it's a bit dry, this is fresh, it is a bit woody, and some people don't like very much bits of wood in food, but they do it. I mean, they chop herbs. Sage, you can chop it because it gets soft, but actually the sage itself is quite good to eat at the end. So we have other dishes with sage and with sage. Okay, now it's getting soft here. And I'm going to add underneath the meat. So the bacon is getting nice now. You want to make sure that the bacon is kind of golden, so you can see it on with the video here with the camera. But it gets a bit golden and crisp, but not brown. Absolutely not brown. Okay, I'm stirring because in some ways I accelerate the process here. Okay, now we want to. The bacon is fine now. We want to add first the sausage. Sausage meat. And I start browning. And after this, I'm going to add the beef. Now we need to brown all these meat here. In a minute, I'm going to add white wine, that is brown.
And the great thing about this ragu is that it's a quick ragu, because if you do, you can do a very long ragu where you cook it for 3-4 hours.
Yes. This one I do it first of all on a shallow pan. So it that all the heat is kind of getting directly into its punch, and then it's kind of Then I'm going to remove now the rosemary, because otherwise all the bits will end up in the sauce. Okay, and while getting brown, I'm going to pour a glass of wine. I would say a generous glass of wine.
You could actually be drinking a glass, because it is actually
It's a very nice wine.
evening here.
Yes, it's such a lovely thing. The temperature is perfect, and how the sun doing? Sun is setting now, but it's not a red sunset. Occasion we have, modern occasion, we have beautiful sunsets. I mean, the most intense orange red we get here. Okay, now it's getting brown now here.
I think also in the ingredients, we didn't add the stock, did we? We didn't say stock.
Yes, the stock you put it later. Yes.
Yeah, no. I think we didn't say at the beginning.
Yes, okay. We have a bit of stock ready here. But if it gets too dry, I put wine first, and then need some vegetable stock. But you can also use a warm water, as you say, because the meat itself and the pancetta, they give quite a strong kind of taste to that. To this recipe here. Okay, just mix now. Yes.
The stock that Enzo uses is vegetable stock.
Yes, I did vegetable stock, but you can also use meat stock if you have. I mean,
if you have some.
I mean, for instance, for all the dishes, we sometimes get the bones from the butcher, and we make stock for risotto, for recipes, using bones for the stock. Okay, now I'm going to add the wine, and it has to evaporate. Now we abandon this for a bit, and we start making the pasta. So we keep also an eye on what we do, because we don't want to that it sticks to the bottom. So we want to make sure that this really soft. We want it quite high now. Okay, not too high, but this is a medium heat flame using gas here. Okay, so now we're going to move to the pasta. Okay, the first thing to do for the pasta, we create a kind of crater with the flour, and I use Italian 00 flour, which is the kind of flour used for the fresh pasta in this part of the world, because there's different kind of flours in all parts of the world again. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put eggs here. So 3 eggs. Two. And 3. I'm going to add a pinch of salt and a little gush of a little teaspoon of olive oil. Then I break the eggs here, like this. And I start incorporating all the flour. And I also have a little bit of flour here because it might be more in the final stage. Or if it is too wet, I have to add a bit more flour to get the right consistency.
And this is the fun bit. You have to be careful not to break your walls, or else you have a
Yeah.
flood.
Yeah, no, I want the flour.
Your lava escapes.
And when I'm actually right consistency, I start using my hands. Okay, now it's absorbing all the flour more and more. If it gets too dry, because let's say the eggs are smaller, then we can add a little bit of warm water. But the best thing to do is that to get some warm water handy, and you warm you kind of wet your hands, and then transfer the humidity to the dough.
I know there are often a lot of questions about flour, and the sort of flour you use slightly depends on the pasta that you're
Yes.
making. If you make egg pasta, you always use this flour.
I normally use this flour for egg pasta, as I use in this part of the world, because it's easier it's got a better consistency. I will also experiment with different kind of flour. For instance, with durum wheat flour, which is what is called in Italy, it's called the semola, or semola rimasciata, the thinner version. And the result was not what I was expecting. It was a bit kind of the pasta was actually breaking, while this one looks more elastic. So I prefer this flour for this kind of pasta.
But durum wheat is used for making dry pasta.
It's
that you
used for
buy
making
in
dry
the supermarket.
pasta from the supermarket. In Italy, by law, to be by durum wheat. So this is, I can remove this one. The durum wheat has to be done. The pasta that you buy, the dry pasta. Okay, can you do that? And I can start using my hands in a minute. I also got this wonderful tool we got from a local shop in Lucca. I got a couple of them, and they're fantastic because you can clean the board. I'm using actually our board that we acquired years ago from a local shop down the valley.
Somebody's asking, what is the ratio of flour to eggs?
It is in grams, it's 100 grams to a million egg. In US, I think it's 3.5 ounces for a million eggs, if I know this. And it depends. You should have also a bit of flour handy at the bottom, because of course all the eggs are not the same. So especially, I mean, you can buy from the shop eggs from different size, but I just said the ratio is 1 medium egg to 100 grams, 3.5 ounces of flour. Okay, this is okay now, and I'm going to use my hands now.
It must be said, this is, if you're happy to have a messy kitchen, a great thing to do for kids' parties. They love it.
By the way, this is Phyllis. I just want to say that everybody will be getting the recipe following the program in a follow-up email that we always send. And Enzo has given us US equivalents as well as the grant.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, now the pasta, the dough is getting the right consistency. Just in here. And I incorporated the flour that I got here.
Maybe they heard me anyway.
It's very therapeutic, pasta making.
Yes.
So if you've had a stressful week, it's a great way to spend your Sunday morning.
Okay, this is actually the movement that we do with the pasta. I'm using with 3 eggs, so I got a certain amount, but people also do this dough with 10 or 15 eggs, so you get quite a lot of dough here. So I use both hands. In my case, I'm using my hand, one hand. Can you do this movement like this? With your palm, and you press it.
See if I can show the pressure.
Yeah. And maybe I'm going to start in the other direction. Okay, now I'll incorporate this bit as well. That's from the... Okay, now I'm going to take a quick look at the ragu, not drying too much. It's okay. Much is fine. Safe. Now, when I finish this, normally we keep this dough in cling film for about half an hour. We don't have the time to do it now, but it's just we need to, the dough has to rest for 20 minutes, half an hour.
So we just hope it rolls out properly.
It'll be fine. Okay, it should be fine.
Enzo says this is a good time for questions, if anybody has anything while he rolls out his and cuts the pasta. But I also wanted to have a little time to tell about a little coincidence that this is just developed here. Celia, if you can hear me, this is
Yes.
kind of a fun thing. One of our members here who is on the call has just told me, Abby, no, this is Aleka. Aleka has been in Benabbio.
Oh.
Has stayed at Villa de Roca.
Oh, yes.
San
Rocco.
Yeah. Rocco. And she actually, she's an artist, one of our artist members. And she is actually met Albert, who is on this call. Hi, Albert. And she has met him in Benabbio, and Albert lives here in Los Angeles, but owns some property in Benabbio, which is how I originally found out about Benabbio. And so Aleka apparently lives right down the street from Albert. This is incredible coincidence.
It's a small world.
Small world. It's just totally amazing.
It's amazing actually how international Benabbio has become. Albert was here before us, and where you stayed, the owners were here before us. But I think we were the sort of first people who lived here full time. And Enzo was known as the Inglese as well, which was a bit weird, but he still is. And I said the other day, but you know, I'm Italian now as well. I've got a passport. He said, no, you were born in London, you're English, and you rule the house because you're the woman. Therefore, you're the English, and there's nothing we can do about it.
But the funny thing they tell me, oh, but your Italian is wonderful. But I was born here, I went to university, I suppose that is okay.
This area is heavily populated by English. It always has been for several hundred years, right? When the English first discovered the area as a resort.
Absolutely. I mean, Bagni di Lucca at the turn of the century, at the end of the 19th century, with 18th century, I should say, sorry, was actually the top European resort, and it's where all the poets came. All the romantic poets were here, but also it was very, very popular because of the spa, and the spa has been here since Roman times. So the English have always loved it, and there's an escape also from Florence in the heat. So the Brownings were here as well for, they came, I think, for several summers.
Yes, several summers, yes.
So yes, it has a very strong connection. And in fact, the chemist down the road has by appointment to the Queen Mother.
Yes, the late Queen Mother.
Yes.
Oh,
So
my.
yes, it does have a very, very strong English connection.
Okay. I'm going to add a tiny bit of stock because it's quite kind of well, but not too much, but it keeps the thing kind of. And we can go back to the. So I'm going to do. Normally I cut in 4 or 5 pieces. I just get one here. Like this. I just this properly, and I start rolling the pasta.
And by the way, the villa is available for rent. They do rent it out in the summers. They have not been able to do
Yes.
this because of the pandemic, but now that the pandemic is, Italy is now opening up too. So anybody interested, we can put you in touch. And anybody who wants to see more of this, we can visit their YouTube channel. And they have, about a dozen now episodes, right? They started at the beginning of the year, and they post one a week, and they're like 11 to 14 minutes each, where they combine a little bit of tourism of the area with another cooking recipe. So this, if you're hooked like I am, you can catch up on all the past episodes and subscribe to their channel and find out when each new one is posted.
That's it's a new adventure for us.
Yeah.
Yes, so we also in the future, when God bless us with the pandemic, got to explore the areas around for food that is not particularly well known outside these areas. Very much, it's very interesting. Will be a moment of time we got to investigate some food that probably goes back to prehistoric times. It will be very interesting research to do.
You can see that Enzo's actually putting quite a lot of pressure on the pasta.
Yes, you see, the point is just the palm of the hands. I mean, I'm going a bit faster than normal because of time, but I can also do this thing going.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah. Some of my friends who are half Italian, actually from Veneto, they bought a really expensive pasta makers. I mean, these are like $1,000 and more and so forth. And I'm looking now how this is beautifully done mechanically, like my grandmother did. And I'm just wondering how many of the Italians, really Italians, are still using and developing this pasta the way you are doing, or most of them are buying these machines that are really preposterously expensive and probably nice pasta. I haven't really experimentally compared these two, but I'm just wondering, is it necessary really? And is it better? Or what is the advantage of having these pasta machines as opposed to this way of making pasta?
Well, we also have a small pasta machine, actually very ancient, that I received from my mother.
But it's a manual one.
It's a manual one. I'll add a bit more stock.
But in reality, a lot of the time when you spend, cleaning the machine and so on, it's as quick to make it. And somehow, cooking in Italy is also a ritual, which is something I've learned being married to Enzo. You know, I'm not allowed to drink a cup of coffee on the hoof. You have to sit down and enjoy your coffee. And we don't have, or in fact, we do have a coffee machine here, but we never use it. Our guests might, but we always use.
My father's so ancient coffee machine.
Yes, and it's a sort of ritual, and a lot of cooking is a ritual. I think maybe more people in cities might use it, but around here, people make it by hand. Now, if you can see this, you can see through the pasta, and that's what your pasta should look like. You should be able to see through it.
Okay, so we've got to make this traditional shape they do in Tuscany, Benabbio in particular. They call it maccheroni, and they're just irregular shapes.
So this is, it's a very, it's what it's our village pasta shape, which is very rustic, which somehow makes it very quick to make.
I mean, if you do just this, somebody call it pappardelle, but what we do is a maccheroni. That this square, irregular squares, about an inch and a half big. So.
And it's particularly nice with this recipe because it's sort of rustic.
Okay.
And this is a very Tuscan food is quite meaty. It's we're up here in the mountains, so it's quite rich food.
Yes. So we just, this is the size of the thing there, but I'd like to show you one thing. Where's that? Actually, we did some before, and actually we did. This is actually dry, but I did it last night, and the same one that I left on the board, and they're dried. It's like dry pasta.
Somebody's asking about the cutter.
Okay, the cutter is a. Okay, this one has got a double thing. This has got also a different kind of. How do you say this in English? That kind of cutting.
Oh, it's a serrated.
Yes, I got also a big one that used for the pizza.
Which you could also use.
You could for this. I mean,
but you could also use a knife.
Ah, yes. I mean, a sharp knife will do the job perfectly well. I mean, this is a knife, and if you cut it like this.
So if you don't have lots of equipment, you really don't need to invest.
Yes. So now we can. Yes, we should put this stuff in the boiling water. Okay, the ragu is actually there. So we got the food. The ragu is nearly there. I'm going to put a bit of salt and pepper to season it. Salt. And I'm going to add now when the pasta is boiling, I got about the last couple of minutes parsley. Okay, now should be got to put some salt in the pasta, in the water.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, we have a shell for the salt. Be ready in a minute. And got to put the pasta in. Okay, now I've got all that.
It's just rushing around the kitchen, just getting the lots. The pasta off the board. Just scraping it off the board too.
Okay.
Celia, there are
Yes.
questions about how to rent your place. If you want to put something in the chat, or we can send something out later. There are people
Okay.
all ready to move. There's several people all ready to move there.
Well,
And also your Piazza Talk you have changed the name to Piazza Talk Tuscany.
yes, we changed the name to that, thinking it might get a slightly larger audience.
But if they type Piazza Talk Tuscany, will they still come up with the Piazza Talk Lucca?
Yes, it's the same channel. Absolutely.
Okay,
Is it okay we're running over a bit, Phyllis?
that's okay.
Okay.
We're hanging in for the water. I think the thing about Benabbio as a village, why we chose to live here in the first place, is because it's a real village, as I think Phyllis and Albert will verify, that there's a real community. There are kids, there are young people and families.
And what's important, we have a wonderful food shop run by this woman called Viviana, which is fantastic also to organize the lights in Benabbio in these COVID times. And I acquired a lot of things today from her shop.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so Viviana is a great, okay, it's boiling now, thank you. So I'm going to put the pasta here. I done the pasta just one bit there, but the recipe is for people. So,
The question is cheese recommended with this kind of sauce?
Absolutely. At
Yes.
the end,
Parmigiano Reggiano. Let's see.
classic.
Actually, it's interesting because the Parmigiano Reggiano, okay, Parmigiano Reggiano area starts from not far from here. Really about half an hour, 40 minutes from here starts the area where they produce Parmigiano Reggiano. Okay, this is the pasta.
Because we're actually we're about an hour from the sea, and 45 minutes from a ski resort.
Yes, and the after the ski resort, we have another region called Emilia Romagna, and we have Modena and Parma. Parma is a great place for food as well. And Parma, they make Parma ham and the Parmigiano Reggiano this year. So we are actually close to us. Okay, this is really ready there. Okay.
Okay, now you have to stir this pasta a little bit because otherwise it does tend to stick a bit. But no, Italians do not add olive oil to their cooking water.
No.
That is one of those myths.
Okay. That will take another 3-4 minutes, but we can also show you.
How long do you boil the pasta for?
I did one more 5 minutes for this kind of pasta. Also, after a minute, they tend to float. So I think 5 minutes of the water. You have to make sure that they don't stick. So you can show that here. So that I try to keep separate with the separate. Okay.
And I don't know, did you try this pasta, Phyllis, in the restaurant?
I haven't, no.
You also have a beautiful restaurant in Benabbio.
We do have a very good restaurant in Benabbio. Oh, which wasn't there, of course,
I
when
did.
you were
I
here,
tried
Phyllis.
it in a very good restaurant. That one very good restaurant.
Yes.
Okay.
We
This
did a
is
lot of cooking in our big kitchen.
Well, that's also part of the fun, is cooking using the local produce.
Okay,
Yes.
this sauce here normally takes about 30-40 minutes anyway. So it gets to try. We are kind of speeding up the process, but if it gets to adjust a bit of stock, but I cook this maybe for the 25 minutes now, but manage to cook a bit more. But we can use it. I mean, in theory, it is better at this stage. Okay. we can, if the pasta is ready, and put it. You can see it's elastic, and if you don't see flour, of course, inside, it is cooked. It's a tiny bit left of the flour, so it's not made. But this is the way to find out if it's cooked. And this pasta, you don't eat it al dente. It's quite kind of got a good consistency there. But unlike dry pasta, you eat it al dente. This pasta, you eat it when it's actually ready. It has got a nice consistency. I can turn this off for now. But in the meantime, before we started the thing, we made another one. So this is how it should be.
And but you top it off with
the Parmigiano. So I'm going to get a nice piece. E via. This is a perfect local dish.
pasta.
Maccheroni bianchi al ragù bianco. Maccheroni al ragù bianco. This is maccheroni with a white ragu. This is the dish that we eat actually quite often ourselves. And meantime, I can actually, this is ready, and I can take this dish as well. Off. And I got this beautiful thing to play the pasta instead of using a colander or perfect.
Somebody says they can smell it. It does actually smell delicious. And it's dinner time here, so afterwards we'll be eating it.
One thing I
wish you could all join us.
Yes, I'm going to do one thing for everybody.
Excuse the noise.
Okay. What I'm going to do now.
We have a question if the pasta is supposed to be soft.
Yes, it is. It has a slightly different consistency, doesn't it, to dry pasta?
Yes.
When you
the dry pasta, it has to be al dente. It means that inside you have to have a kind of like a tiny bit that has been hard. This pasta, it is actually more than al dente. I can define it. It has to be elastic. This is the entire thing that's to be elastic. So what we're going to do now, we got to toss it, saltare in padella.
the green that Enzo added was parsley.
Flat parsley.
Flat parsley.
Is this something that you foraged from your property?
Sorry?
Did you forage that from your property?
No, I'm afraid we didn't. We foraged it from the market.
From the property, we kind of use quite a lot of things. I mean, also we've been making a few videos on, at least a couple of videos on using the wild greens from the garden. We made a soup using maybe mini pan, and we made homemade pasta with nettles.
Somebody suggesting an email trip to Benabbio. We would love to have you all here. Honestly,
okay, and
you've all made us so welcome.
Okay.
So this is what all Italians love to do.
It's got to toss it in the sauce right there. Okay, and this is ready to serve now. Okay. Again, we got 2 plates pasta. Okay. And little bit. And again, we can put some Parmigiano.
I think we should then go out on the balcony.
Yes. And you can test it because my wife is the official tester.
To taste it. No. Okay, let's go outside. The sun is just going down. So sorry about the dark room.
I was just going to
No,
ask if it was dark.
little
Oh,
bit.
look. Oh, wow.
So that's an evening from Benabbio. It doesn't look quite as pink as it does in real life. But we would like to thank you all for joining us in Benabbio this evening, and particularly to Albert, who introduced us to Phyllis, and Phyllis, who's made us so welcome, and Meredith, who's made us calm and technically secure,
And Amy that supported us in all
and
this.
Amy, who has been positive throughout everything. Thank you all very, very
And
much.
also the president of the club, very much.
Yes, for letting us into your beautiful clubhouse, virtually speaking.
We hope you will come to Los Angeles sometime soon so we can take you through, give you a tour of our clubhouse.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Anybody
never know.
want to unmute and ask a live question before we go? I can hear the birds.
Yes.
Grazie mille. That was so wonderful. This is Patty. Is that a fig tree that we are seeing in the foreground?
Yes, it is. And these are they're very dark figs, and they're very, very sweet. They're the best fig tree because we actually have
Wow, look how they'll sing.
3 fig trees, but the others are green figs, and this one is the nicest.
Ah,
with the sweetest
wonderful.
fig.
Well, it's a beautiful setting, and I hope you enjoy your pasta.
Yes, I know. I wish we could have a bite right now.
Thank you so much. It's lunchtime here in Los Angeles.
So we can offer a virtual kind of
Buon appetito.
buon appetito.
A tutti.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This has been absolutely spectacular, and I can't wait to see you in real life, because this is so gorgeous and so inspiring. Thanks to both of you, and to Phyllis and Meredith and Patty. It's really wonderful. It's really wonderful. So now we'll be all thinking of you as we make our craters and break eggs and mix. So
And I
we
hope
can
you won't blame us for the flour on your kitchen floor.
no. And you'll be getting photos of our attempts at replicating the wonderful pasta, the wonderful sauce. So thank you.
Oh, that would
Thank
be
you.
such fun. And do put comments on Piazza Talk, and with any questions, or through our website, and we'll do our best to answer them.
Thanks so much.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good
Many,
night.
many compliments in the chat. Just incredible. And
Thank you.
many thank yous, and subscribe to their channel. Enjoy them
Please
every
do.
week.
do.
This doesn't have to be the end. We can see them.
We're not very good
Yeah.
at marketing.
We try hard.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Mhm.
Good night. And enjoy your lunch. Buon appetito a tutti.
Buon
Buon
appetito.
pomeriggio.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.